Back in the garage, back in the garage, back in the garage today, back in the garage. Alright guys, back in the garage today with really some super simple tasks to take care of on the bike. Number one, we're going to lube the chain. Number two, I'm going to have to adjust the shifter up on my SV just a little bit because I don't like where it's at right now. But let's get started with the chain. Alright, so as you guys can see, I do have the bike up on the lift and also on the rear wheel stand. You don't need either one of these things. They will make life a whole lot easier if you're planning on doing maintenance on your own motorcycles. But not necessary, but it's going to make my life a whole lot easier today, especially while filming this. Just a couple of really quick things. If you don't have a rear wheel stand and you don't have a lift, that's okay. You can do what I'm about to show you just by doing it a little bit of the chain at a time on the bike by inching it forward and backward. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt. If you can afford one of these rear wheel stands, it'll make life a whole lot easier. I think we picked this one up from Motorcycle Superstore for about 60 bucks. Really nice quality. Alright, so the best time to lube your chain is right after a ride. I just got back, the chain's a little bit warmer. It means the lubrication is going to stick a little bit easier, plus it's going to have time to sit there overnight, maybe even longer before I ride again, so it'll cause less of the lube to get up on my rear wheel there, making it dirty. You're going to need some sort of lubricant, whether you use wax or just the regular spray-on kind. This is what I have on hand right now. This stuff will work just fine, and it is O-ring safe. Make sure if you have an O-ring chain, it is an O-ring safe lubricant that you're using. Another thing to keep in mind, this chain here is pretty clean right now. I'm not showing you how to clean a chain, I'm simply showing you how to lubricate the chain. If you can look right there, that's the O-ring. That's what keeps the grease sealed inside these pins. All we're going to do is lubricate these O-rings to try and help keep dirt out of there. That's the O-ring's job, is to seal these things, to keep the dirt out, to keep the lubricant in, to make sure this chain lasts as long as possible. Now, I like to use some sort of cloth or paper towel to try to keep the wheel from getting dirty. Right now, I'm going to do the outside. Make sure your bike is in neutral. And then just move the chain forward and get the next area. Now, once you've got all this side, now we're going to hit the O-rings on this side, doing the same exact thing. Now, while you're doing that, you can hit the rollers up a little bit, but they're really not going to retain a whole lot of the fluid or lubricant. Now, I'd like to say that this goes without saying, but double check while you're on here to make sure your teeth aren't worn down on your sprocket, because if they are, that'd be a good time to replace. Now, with the chain good and lubed, you can take your towel and just go over it a little bit. Try to get some of the excess off. I'm going to do that with the camera off. You still feel it's still a little warm to the touch from the ride earlier. You can see how dirty this rear wheel is. It's a perfect time to get out your spray polish and a rag and get this thing cleaned up before you take it back off the rear wheel stand. And that's how you lube the chain on your motorcycle. Next up, I'm going to adjust the shifter on the bike. If you only tuned in to learn how to lube your chain, you can go ahead and cut the video off now. If you want to learn how to adjust your shifter, stay tuned. Alright, now the problem with the shifter on my bike right now is this thing is up too high, and I like to have my foot down a little bit further, and I've got to move my foot too far to get to it to upshift. So I'm going to adjust it so that it's down a little bit lower. It makes it a little bit easier to shift and also helps me stop missing shifts. Now, the only thing I'm going to need to adjust this is a 10mm wrench. Basically, what you're going to do is loosen up this nut right here and also loosen up this nut back here. Now, it may be a different size on your bike, but chances are the shifter looks about the same. Now, with those two adjusted, if you turn this, see how it's adjusting where my shifter is. I want it to be lower, so I'm going to adjust it down a little bit. And then when I get it about where I want it, I'm just going to lock these two nuts back down. Now that I've tested it out and it's about where I want it, I'm just going to lock these two back down. Now, the one thing you want to make sure of, make sure you're not down to like your last thread on either spot, because that's going to end up causing you problems and it could come loose. So anyway, I'm going to tighten these back up and should be good to go. And there it is, all locked back down. Check your torque settings if you have your factory manual. If not, just snug them up and you should be good. Alright guys, so I hope you got something useful out of today's video. If you haven't already subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button below. And if you liked it, give me a thumbs up and I'll see you again next time. Thanks!